Hello everybody, welcome back to Screen Stars. I'm here today to bring you my review for the 2021 comedy adventure film Hollywood.con. The film is co-written, directed and stars Micah Borem, and there are a couple of faces you might recognise in the film. We've got Tom Arnold, who makes an appearance, and Devin Patray, who you may remember from the Home Alone films as Buzz. Right, what is this film about? Well, this film essentially is about a character called Micah, who she's a struggling actress. She wants to be like a YouTube star. It's not called YouTube though; it's called MeTube or something. She's a struggling actress. She goes for an audition for like this zombie film, and she basically gets mistaken for a producer. She kind of then takes somebody's identity and is reeled into producing this next great Mayan film over in the jungle of Mexico. And they are supposedly competing with another production company headed by Clint Eastwood, something like that. So she has to then wrangle together a team, which essentially is her father, to go over to Mexico to start production on this new film. However, when she gets there, she gets into all sorts of different escapades and adventures and mishaps, as you can imagine, because this is a comedy adventure film. Right, what are my thoughts on Hollywood.con? Right. Where to start? Well, I think the first thing I can say that's certainly positive here is the performances here for everybody in the, well, for some of the performers here are actually fine. I actually think Micah Borem, who obviously directed it and co-wrote it, she's absolutely fine as the character she's playing. And then everybody else kind of plays their part. Now, it's difficult to overly criticise performances for some of the actors here because it's like a slapstick comedy. So the way they are acting is how they should be acting for the most part. Over the top, cringy, a little bit creepy at times. So it all kind of, is in good humour, and that's, supposed to be what the film is about. Now, for me personally, I didn't find the film particularly funny. Now, it's always difficult to review a comedy because I've said it before, humour and comedy is subjective. What I might find funny, somebody else may not find funny, and vice versa. I didn't find the humour in this film particularly funny at all. I don't remember laughing out loud. I thought some of the situations they got themselves in were quite amusing, I suppose. It was almost like a situational comedy, which is, if you like, what we in the UK specialise in. You watch things like Fawlty Towers and Your Father Ted's and all that kind of stuff, and it's situational comedy, ridiculous situational comedy at its best. And that is what this film's going for. I think it's going for that slapstick approach. It's not meant to be taken seriously, obviously, because we have a comedy here. The problem, I think, the biggest problem with this film is its plot. It's too overly convoluted. This simple plot that should have been that this woman taking this producer's identity gets roped into doing this film in Mexico, and then basically it should have then become like a fish out of water type story. But you've got these other people trying to sabotage it. And it all becomes a bit confused and a bit convoluted, and I don't necessarily think it needed to. Some of the things it did get right in regards to her getting, involved with like a drug cartel in Mexico. That makes sense. It's Mexico. Tom Arnold as the head drug cartel guy may have worked in some people's eyes. It didn't necessarily work for me. He wasn't bad in the role, he just didn't suit being a drug cartel boss. But I don't mind Tom Arnold, I don't mind some of his humour, and he does the best with what he can here, I suppose. So some of the situations she found herself in could have worked. I'm not saying they necessarily did work, but they could have worked. And that is the biggest takeaway from this film. I think it could have worked. Unfortunately, I just don't think it did. I think it was overwritten. The plot, excuse me, the plot's too convoluted. Maybe I think they could have simplified the story a little bit, and maybe it would have worked a little bit better. So that is my review for Hollywood.con. I hope you liked it. I hope you found it useful. Thank you very much for watching, and of course I will be back with more content and reviews on the channel very, very soon.